IS-BAO Progressive Stage 3 Introduction. We're really privileged to have this opportunity to talk to you for a few minutes about what's happened new in the program with the Progressive Stage 3. My name is Bennett Walsh, and I've been the program director since 2016. I'd like you to meet Catherine Hills, our operations manager, and she's going to take you through our agenda.
Thanks so much, Ben. Appreciate that. Welcome, everyone. This is just a quick overview of what we'll be discussing in this introduction to the PS3 program. We'll talk about the background and the key features of what this program has developed into, the benefits of being in this program, as well as learning some about our leadership team, the operators who had the vision and put in the work to get this program up and running. We'll also go over the PS3 auditing process, and you'll hear from some of our core auditors that have started the program. And we will also let you know how the pricing works in the subscription-based program. So with that, I would love to give it back to you, Ben, just to tell us a little bit about how this program has come into being.
Originally, we started this with a group of operators with a white sheet on where does the program go next. There was questions in the industry about a stage 4, but ultimately, once an SMS matures, there are varying levels of sophistication and maturity, but it's a stage 3. So this is not a stage 4. What this is leveraging the operator's safety systems and culture in an advanced stage 3, whether they have one aircraft and 3 people or a large organization. It's not about the size, it's about the culture. Now the ISBAO tailors and is modified and comes to the operator versus in the classic program where the operator comes to the ISBAO. One is not better than the other. It's all about a cultural fit. Some operators will thrive in the progressive stage 3 and others will remain and thrive in the classic. It's totally a choice for the operator. There are several benefits to the progressive stage 3. At its core, it's about building a sense of community and access to continuous improvement. These operators are seeking and striving to do better. The crown jewel of that was we're building business aviation's own first ever specific business aviation database where the operators are donating historical and current operational data de-identified in order to benchmark and assist with research and development. There's also the leadership opportunities. There's a sense of community where they work together. The leadership team of the ISBAO progressive stage 3 operators. Additionally, the progressive auditor core is pulled from a unique subset of our auditor group and are able to contribute significantly with their experience. They're operational, they're flying, they're out there regularly in the industry. And it's been a huge successful combination of these groups, all to where they can now pool information and resources for continuous improvement. I'd also like to offer a special thank you to the operators that allowed us to beta test this in their organization. We started with a focus group of 15 operators to white sheet and design the progressive stage 3, and then 6 of those stepped up and allowed us over the last 18 months to work with them as we beta tested the actual details of the program. Thank you. Some of the objectives of the beta test program that they allowed us to do was working on the registration over the course of a decade, how we handle that, implementing the progressive auditor credential, working with the progressive auditors, the one-day more efficient, low-impact audit that samples a portion of the ISBAO, and also tailoring the ISBAO to their operations. What are the effects that are ongoing currently with their culture and their SMS, and how to leverage the ISBAO through their internal audit program or through the gap analysis, et cetera, to support their goals and objectives that year on the line and in the operations.
Ben, thank you for all that background information. Let's now hear from one of our operators who was key and really instrumental in getting the progressive stage 3 program going. So we're going to hear from Mark McIntyre from Mente on why they chose to transition to the PS3.
My name is Mark McIntyre. Well, I'm the Director of Flight Operations for Mente LLC. We're a Part 91 operation based in Seattle, Washington. We operate 4 aircraft, a mix of fixed wing and rotary wing. And about 65% of our flying is international, primarily to the developing world. We're excited about getting involved in the progressive audit because, like most operators who have been involved with IS-BAO for a while, we were kind of looking for what's next. Well, I think like most operators, when we heard about the development of progressive audit, we were excited about getting involved. We've been IS-BAO registered for over 15 years, and about 9 of those years at the stage 3 level. So we clearly were very happy with where we were in the program, but we were really looking for kind of what's next. And in my conversations with Bennett, understanding that the progressive audit would become an option was immediately appealing to me because I felt that it would make our engagement with the IS-BAO standard more consistent. What we really had found, as disciplined as we felt we were, is that as an audit approach, we would kind of ramp up in preparation for that. We'd complete the audit, and then things would kind of settle back into our normal routine, our normal tempo. And it just seemed to me like the next opportunity for us was to find a way to make that engagement with the IS-BAO, with our own SMS, make that more consistent. And I see, and I have actually already seen in the brief time that we've been involved with the progressive audit and the beta test, that is in fact happening, that our engagement, that we're more mindful, we're more aware, and I can see that that is going to result in a more consistent engagement and kind of continuous improvement of our safety management system. Many years, about 15 years, and being engaged with the industry and talking to lots of colleagues and operators, I had seen kind of a diminished enthusiasm around IS-BAO. I think there was a kind of a notion that the standard was growing just for the sake of growth, not necessarily growing to address the needs of operators. And I really believe that we needed to have a standard to aspire to. And so the fact that people were losing interest in that standard, I found personally distressing. So I was really pleased, again, in engaging with Bennett and talking with him about kind of what's next for IS-BAO and looking at opportunity for things like flight plan and progressive audit. I feel like it's just really reinvigorated the program. I feel like it's made this standard, again, really relevant, really valuable, and scalable. And I think that's the thing that was getting missed, is people felt like to take on IS-BAO was going to be to take on this 800-pound elephant. And that's not the way the program was designed initially. I think maybe we strayed from that, but to see us come back now and understand that this standard can apply to an owner operator, it can apply to a 1 aircraft, 2 crew operation, it can apply to a multinational corporation. And it can apply appropriately and specifically and with the appropriate amount of effort and expense and resource. So to have that, I think, recaptured, or to have that re-understood and now really be built back into the components of IS-BAO or the elements of IS-BAO, I think, 1, is really important, but 2, I think it's going to make the program more accessible and really, in the end, more valuable to people that choose to adopt it.
Thanks, Mark McIntyre, for sharing your perspective on the PS3 program and why you've been participating in this and been such a big part of its evolution. The Operator Review Board is a part of this, and Ben, would you give us a little background on the ORB and what it's intended to do?
The Operator Review Board, or ORB, is a fancy name for a way to meet with the team, in essence. But it does have a formal role. We bring together the experts of the program, operations with Catherine, audit program with Daniel, to meet with the experts that run the safety program at the operator. And the idea is that we understand where your culture is, what type of systems you use, because we're trying to minimize any type of disruption to the current systems and structure and calendars that you have. So the way we tailor it is what makes the most sense for you as far as an audit date? When is the low time when you're not flying? How does your internal audit program work, and what chapters are you focusing on right now? Is there a significant change on the horizon where you're going to be incorporating a new fleet or another organization or another manager? That would also determine how we set up working with you the best way to serve your organizational goals, or what chapters should you be using that year for the audit. The idea is not to make extra work, but to eliminate some. So if you're already in your internal audit program with certain IS-BAO chapters, let's use those towards the gap. Let's use those towards the audit and focus around your goals at the organizational level.
And now we would like to turn to another one of our PS3 beta operators, Johnson & Johnson and Jared Taylor. Thank you to both Jared and Jamie Overland for their help with the PS3 program. Take it away, Jared.
So my name is Jared Taylor. I'm the safety manager at Johnson & Johnson Aviation. I'm also G550, G650 captain. And yeah, so at Johnson & Johnson, we have 35 employees. We have 4 fixed-wing aircraft, 2 G650s, 2 G550s, and we do have 1 rotorcraft. We have an AW139, which is new to our fleet. We have 2 hangars, one of which is a brand new space, and they're going to be conjoined through an office space and a lobby environment. So we're very excited about that. We've been an IS-BAO participant we're actually a 3-time recert at IS-BAO for stage 3, and we're looking forward to participating in the beta process for PS3. So one of the reasons why we decided to participate in the IS-BAO PS3 program was because it gave us the opportunity to innovate. At Johnson & Johnson, one of our key business imperatives is innovation. So for us, it's a win-win. We not only get to innovate as far as the aviation department goes and Johnson & Johnson as an enterprise, but it also gives us the chance to help IBAC and the IS-BAO move along and progress into the arena that it wants to be in. We also elected to do this because we wanted to streamline the process of the IS-BAO audit. You know, we do a good job of maintaining our SMS and all the other components of our organization, but the build up to an audit, it takes a lot of time from the department. And when we saw the opportunity to just do a rolling audit, we thought that would be best for us in terms of minimizing preparation and just really kind of streamlining. One of the other added benefits of the IS-BAO 3 program is that we're able to condense an audit into 1 day. In the past, it tends to be a 2 to 2.5 day process. So we're able to do the preparation work in advance via virtual phone calls and electronic connectivity. And that process for us from the very beginning has been very, very simple. And fortunately, you know, we've had the help of Catherine and we've had the help of our auditor, Jay, and it's been a pretty seamless process. In addition to some of the areas of our manual that we've realized that we needed to improve, we've had multiple calls regarding COVID-19 operations. And myself and Jamie, who is our IS-BAO representative internally at Johnson & Johnson, we've been able to share a lot of the processes and procedures that we've put in place. And not only that, connecting with all the other major departments in the program, we've been able to take the information that they've provided, which we wouldn't be able to collect any other way. And we've been able to apply that into our program and how we're doing things. And, you know, ultimately for us in safety, it's, you know, safety is our #1 priority, and anything that we can do to increase that, we do it. And this is how we're getting there in today's climate.
Thanks, Jared, so much for sharing your perspective and your participation in the PS3 program. One of the key elements of the PS3 program are the leadership opportunities for those involved in this program. This goes anywhere from participating in our roundtable programs, jumping in on workshops and sharing your experiences and lesson learned, sharing your stories in our newsletters, and also as part of our Safety Net webinar series. The other really exciting element of this, from my perspective, is the opportunity for the PS3 operators to mentor others in the IS-BAO program or those who want to become IS-BAO registered. So there's a really great synergy that can evolve there, and that's possible with this program. We also have an incredible new piece of this, which is the safety data sharing, which Ben is going to tell you a little bit more about.
Sure. One of the biggest parts of the program is the ability to benchmark and share informational and operational data, if you will. The list of items comes from the evidence of implementation of what's sampled in an audit as examples, and they're listed here. The operator tells us in the program in the ORB what information they can easily donate, at least on an annual basis. Many of the operators are doing it on a more regular basis with much more extensive lists of data. The idea is not reams of process data, but we want the takeaway. What was a significant event, the root cause behind it that led to certain corrective actions that influence your organization? It's the items that you would be interested in benchmarking against one of your peers. That's the type of thing that the program is looking to capture to make it available to share. And ultimately, a list of SBIs, SBTs, other type of memory jogger items that would be helpful to an operator.
All right, and next we'll hear from Blair Robson, the manager aircraft maintenance and aviation facilities for a large corporate flight department that has multiple locations. Blair and his organization participated in the very first progressive stage 3 audit. Blair, thanks.
We are a large flight department of 60 employees. We have 2 different locations, 2 different hangars. We have 3 aircraft types. We fly domestically and internationally. That is the content of the flight department. The big advantage for us to move into the PS3 world was the one-day audit. We do a lot of internal and external audits within the company, and to get the scheduling and alignment of everybody's schedules compared to the flight schedule and vacations and training, the idea of having all of the folks that are responsible for the flight department in one place for just one day was a lot easier for us to schedule than to have a week or 2 weeks of an audit based upon our 2 locations that an auditor would have to go to. So that was a huge advantage for us. We were able to get everything done, a lot of homework and a lot of pre-work and a lot of good discussions happened beforehand, a lot of good comments from the audit itself. And again, to show that we do want to be the best. We do want to lead the pack, if you will. That's our motto. And we're very happy that we now continue to be into this PS3 program. It's structured out for the next 9 years, and a very successful project for ourselves as a flight department. And I think the wave of the future, or the future, and the touchstone, if you will, for IS-BAO. This is another prime example of leading the pack. We're very proud of that fact, and a very satisfying journey for us. And we continue to want to be the lead of the pack, to bring the best ideas, to share the best information, and to be ultimately, we like to say, is leading by example.
The way the progressive stage 3 audit works is the IS-BAO is still assessed over the course of 3 years, but you're only doing a third of it in order to be efficient and low impact on an annual basis. The first visit is live for obvious reasons to assess culture. There is a second year remote capability. The third year is an optional decision between the progressive auditor and the operator based on their culture, whether it needs to be live or remote. This happens 3 times, so there'll be 9 years invested. And then in the 10th year, the way the current program exists, is there would be a classic audit to reset the clock. The internal audit plan, or I'm sorry, the internal audit program should be coordinated with the IS-BAO checklist. And the idea there is that we're trying to ensure efficiency of your time and effort. So if you're doing certain checklists in your internal audit plan for a reason, and they're helping you with your safety goals and objectives, that's how we should build the checklist for the IS-BAO progressive audit to support those as well. If there are things that are new or approaching the horizon, your operational horizon, that you need to consider and focus attention from your SMS via the internal audit program, then we would want to tailor the checklist for the internal, for the external IS-BAO audit as well. One of the keys of the progressive stage 3 has been the progressive auditor core. These are invited auditors that share the IS-BAO cultural safety vision, open, just culture vision, customer service vision, active participation in the industry. It's regionally specific so that we can keep travel costs down to a minimum for them and for the operator. So right now we do have our beta in North America, we have one in Europe, and we have the beginnings of one in Asia. They're highly standardized and trained, unlike any effort that we've had in the past. The standardization course is well over 25 hours, multiple meetings on a monthly basis. They are essentially what would be similar to a Civil Aviation Authority's designee program, like the FAA's designee program for check rides, a TCE at Flight Safety or CAE, or an airline's check airman. That's how they function in our program. There are many great auditors in our auditor core. The progressive auditor group is where we've started for now, and it will grow. And these are some of the progressive auditors that actually have been out on audit so far. Let's hear from them.
Hi, I'm Amanda Ferraro, CEO with Aviation Safety Solutions. I've helped ISBAO develop the standardization training course and helped bring the flight plan stage 1 and progressive stage 3 programs to life. I've been an IS-BAO auditor since 2013, and I myself have been through many IS-BAO audits with several operators in the industry. I've helped develop those programs and deploy. So the core group of auditors that have been handpicked by ISBAO have been brought in to do a standardization course, something very similar to what we would consider like at an airline level, where we standardize the pilots in the cockpit across the organization. And I was responsible for helping ISBAO get that standardization going, explaining the IS-BAO standards line by line. Really important that the auditors that are doing this training and going out and doing the auditing all have the same understanding as to exactly what we're looking for. There's no questions anymore as to what that protocol means, or not able to really understand it themselves. So a very exciting opportunity for these auditors to come in and have the opportunity to be trained to the highest standards possible and really grow themselves as an individual and grow with ISBAO together. The standardization course that the auditors went through is an in-depth look into the IS-BAO protocols, and we provided examples and information, including errors, common errors of the auditors, ways and examples to help the auditors fill out their audit record. Every auditor went through that training. It was a 20-hour training course, and that training provided a lot of wow moments actually for the auditors, including myself. There was times when I was getting ready to present it, and with the work of the team as we worked together on getting the training program put together, we realized that, you know, my interpretation as an auditor for the last quite a few years was different than what the expectation was. And all these auditors that went through this training now have the same understanding, and we're all on the same page. And that's the beautiful thing about this program. The auditors have a high level of understanding of the protocols. They are able to teach that or educate that to the operator that's in this program if they need some interpretation of what that standard means. And they're also able to give multiple examples of that to the operator. So very powerful when you can bridge the gap between not understanding and having a high level of expertise. I very much expect that the standardization training program for these auditors is going to change our industry dynamically for the operators. And I'm very excited for this, that this has been something that's been needed for so many years and we've arrived.
My name is Jay Treat, and I've been auditing for ISBAO for I think about 7 years. I'm also a full-time pilot flying for a stage 3 operator, so I get to see both sides of how ISBAO works. So my background is in the flight training industry. I actually got my flight instructor certificate on my 18th birthday and started instructing right away. Became chief pilot of a small primary flight training operation in New York State, and went out and did some flying after that. Ended up at Flight Safety International for 16 years, wound up there as the director of standards. And that's where I got my initial auditing experience, when Flight Safety went through their quality management system. And that was the foundation for me getting into ISBAO auditing after the flight safety location I was at shut down. Working with the PS3 operators is humbling. Their professionalism is amazing. They're not only willing to share their processes and what they have learned, it seems like they are compelled to make business aviation safer and more efficient. They've developed their SMS programs to the point that their continual improvement cycle is very short, it's efficient, and it really reaches into everything they do. They're not only making themselves safer and more efficient, but they're making those around them better, including the training providers, the ground handlers, and sometimes even the corporations they fly for beyond the flight departments. The PS3 program is really these operators wanting a structure to make the entire business aviation industry better. They want to learn everything they can from peers, and they want to help fellow flight departments get better, both by sharing their processes and the best practices developed by their experiences. The PS3 operators are interested in developing a group that really is sharing and getting better together and helping other operators come up to speed quicker, and just the idea that all boats rise together. They want to be better and make each other better, and the leadership part of that is definitely important to the group. The standardization training that was part of becoming a progressive auditor was very interesting. It highlighted a variety of differences that auditors and operators have had about the standard, and will help ISBAO get better and help the standard become clearer over time. It's amazing how different operators and auditors had looked at those standards, and this process is going to help the continual improvement for the entire ISBAO program, as well as those that are involved with it.
Rob Little with Air Safety Dynamics. I'm an ISBAO auditor, have been auditing now actively since 2010. And I'm very excited to see the Progressive Stage 3 program coming along. Heard great feedback from the operators, and it seems like a real partnership, I would say, a three-way partnership between ISBAO and the operators and the auditor corps to raise the bar, to raise the safety standards in the entire industry. I think it's a great opportunity for us to share information, best practices with operators and with the rest of the aviation community for the betterment of everyone involved. So I think the PS3 program will add value to the ISBAO process. It will enable operators to learn from highly skilled and trained auditors who see lots of operators throughout the course of their years of experience, and we'll be able to share that information with these operators. It's a real commitment from these operators to take on the PS3 program, and it's a wonderful thing to see, because I think they understand the value of data sharing, of benchmarking against other operators, and of learning from the ISBAO process in a new way. It's kind of the what's next that I've heard from some operators that have been stage 3 for a long time, and they're looking for new challenges, but also ways to continuously improve their existing processes. And I think that's the exciting part to me, because really the bottom line to all of this is continuous improvement. And so I feel like this ongoing dialogue that the PS3 program allows between the auditors and the operators will give them a much more in-depth product at the end of the day, because instead of just a simple conformity audit, now it's an ongoing dialogue where the conformity is established early on, and now we drill down into a lot more depth in the SMS processes. And that to me is where I think a lot of the continuous improvement will occur. And I think at the same time, safety culture will be positively influenced, because with this consistent approach to auditing, instead of, as I've heard said, a crash course every 3 years, now it's an ongoing dialogue. And I think it will provide more consistent involvement from the entire flight department. And I believe that will have a positive impact on safety culture, which, as we all know, is a very important component of the SMS.
Thanks very much, Amanda, Rob, and Jay, for sharing your perspective and stories on the audits that you've been doing and the training you've gone through. And thank you to all of you who are going through the training now and becoming part of our Auditor Corps. Another key difference from the classic stage 3 to the PS3 program is that we have a subscription option available.
Well, being that IBAC is the nonprofit safety organization that's commissioned by the member associations that make up IBAC, we are your program. The idea is to make it as simple as possible for one-stop shopping. It is a standard price for the standard business aviation operator, $5,000 per year, which was picked from our surveys of operators that were part of this program and other outside surveys that we did on audit costs. We didn't want to tilt the field based on an economic decision. It should be a decision based on your culture. But the idea is that you can do it easily for you. If it's a 1 year upfront, 10-year payment, an annual or quarterly, at least it can be amortized, and it's all in. It includes everything.
And in that all-inclusive package, there are a number of things. The safety analyst, the data collection and analyzing what's happening in the program, industry reporting, the operator benchmarking, and the credentialed auditors that go with the program, along with that specialized training. Another key element of this is the safety officer training and workshops, where we're working with PS3 operators as they stand up a new safety manager in an already established safety management system, and that will be the foundation for the safety officer workshop going forward. All right, and let's hear from another IS-BAO PS3 beta team leader on why they transitioned to PS3. I'd like to introduce Gary Dietz, chief pilot for a major telecommunications company. Thanks, Gary.
My name is Gary Dietz. I'm with a large telecommunications company, and I've been with the company for 41 years. I've been in my role as chief pilot for the last 6 years. I've been in various other roles within the department during the past 41 years. We operate Gulfstreams and Falcons throughout the world. Why did we choose Progressive Stage 3? We've been part of IS-BAO I've been part of IS-BAO since I first heard about it 15 years ago. I heard about it through the IOC, attending one of those conferences back in early 2000s. It was apparent that we were going to need an SMS. In the process of looking into this further, and IBAC coming out with through IS-BAO, the IS-BAO program, we were very much part of it. We went through the various stages. I think we started back in 2006, 2007, somewhere in there, and went through the various stages. I think we just finished up our second or third stage 3. In the process of doing this over the past 10 plus years, and attending various conferences and listening to other operators talk about the transformation of IS-BAO. Developing Progressive Stage 3 is almost like a Stage 4, but it's a continuous process. Working with Ben and the IS-BAO group is probably why I participated in the leadership part of it. How do we develop the next stage? And we began talking about progressive stage 3. To me, the advantages of progressive stage 3 is this simple. Instead of focusing on an audit that's coming up next year, what do we got to do to get ready for the audit? It's a continuous conversation with an auditor or a group of auditors. Yes, we had internal audits that we would do, but we weren't that engaged with the overall program. Any operator would not be that engaged with the overall program until you're coming up to or getting close to your formal audit. Then you got to get going, got to get everybody aligned, got to get everybody on board. Do we have everything ready? We're looking forward to it. We can always already see the benefits of it, because even though you're focusing on the entire program, you're not forgetting the other chapters, but you are focusing on certain chapters. And it's like anything else. When you dedicate your attention and your performance for certain things, you're not spreading yourself too thin. So with the PS3, and what got me interested in it is, I know there's training going on within the auditor program that you have to have specific training to be a PS3 auditor. Just like we have standardization or SOPs out on the flight line, IS-BAO is creating standardization for the PS3 auditors, SOPs, so to speak. Honestly, I keep going back to having continuous conversations with IS-BAO, with the auditors. It's a two-way conversation. It's just not strictly somebody coming in and saying, here's what you need to do. They're learning from us as well as we learn from them, from the auditor. But to me, the key thing is having consistency in the audit program. That's going to help all of us take, whether or not if you're stage 1, 2, or 3, take you to the next level. I'm really excited about this. It's the consistency in the program within the auditors, the consistency for the operators. We strive for consistency on the flight line. Always ask, what do we do well? What can we do better? And when we share that, it's a win-win deal. Focusing on the facts, not the faults. That's how we learn. That's how we progress.
All right. Thank you, everybody, so much for your time today. If you're interested in knowing how to get started with us, please don't hesitate to contact us. There's more information on our website. And we also have a PS3 form that you'll be able to fill out, and we'll get back in touch with you. You can see all of our contact information here on the screen, and we're also happy to connect you with one of the PS3 beta operators or auditors to learn more about the program.
Thanks again. We appreciate this time, and we look forward to hearing from you on this or any other topic.